need to save up and buy keys.
All right, and it looks like we're getting started here. Just a piece of heart today starting in Link's house, but Brewers Fan looks like he's going to go ahead and make the play up to the sanctuary.
Yeah, they're probably going to want to check Kakariko first and get all the wealth of items in there. We have because we've got to find our swords, and because it's hard mode, we're only going to find 3 swords. Now, but with retro mode, another thing about the swords is that one of the sword upgrades is not going to be out in the world like usual. Instead, it's going to be in a specialized cave. Similar to Zelda 1, you'll come across an old man, and the old man will be, "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this," and give you a sword.
Yeah, and those, speaking of those caves, those are called Take Any Caves, as we see Khloe picking up the Moon Pearl here inside the Hyrule Castle little escape way. One thing of note, though, all 4 swords in hard mode are still placed. So our runners, one thing, you know, with us being limited by the level 3 sword, very nice drop here for Brewers Fan with the big 20s dropping out.
Oh yes, that should be excellent for farming if they need to get some extra cash.
Yeah, that's going to be very crucial going forward.
Now, Brewers Fan just went into the house here. He is looking for one of the Take Any Caves, like he just described, where they can pick from a heart container or a blue potion refill. Those heart containers are quite important in hard mode because they're not part of the ordinary item pool. So, like you mentioned earlier, they would normally be limited to 14 hearts, but they can get some extra heart containers because it's retro. But they will have to find those caves.
Yeah, it's just so many things that could go wrong or go right with retro mode. And you know, as a runner, you kind of don't want to see the bow early. That means you're going to be using the bow a lot, and then you know that just drains your money even more. And you kind of want to save those rupees for keys. You know, keys being 100 rupees a piece when you find one of those shops that actually sells the keys.
And not only do the shops sell keys, they also sell wooden arrows. When you get the bow in retro mode, you cannot use it initially. Instead, you actually have to buy some arrows for, I believe it's 80 rupees from a shop. Once you have the arrows, you can then fire infinite amounts of arrows that you like, but each arrow costs 10 rupees a piece. So if you're going to be using arrow strategies on something like Vitreous, for example, or Amos Knight, you're going to need quite a lot of spare cash to do that.
Yeah, no doubt. One good thing about hard mode in my mind as a runner is the silver arrows are not usable in hard mode until you're in the Ganon fight. So the silver arrows actually cost 50 rupees a pop. So that gets really expensive very quickly. So, you know, obviously it's more appealing because it's faster to use those silvers on Vitreous if you have the opportunity, but hard mode limits that. So that'll save them a little bit of cash as long as they don't, you know, go full on wooden arrow strats here.
Bruce is in Kakariko now. He's going to check the bottom of the Blind's hut. He has got 1 bomb, so he's going to be able to get into the back here. I don't think he's going to be particularly happy about buying bombs though, because that is a major 50 rupee loss. So this seed has been pretty generous for cash so far, and it can farm it quite easily from the bush crabs, so it may not pose too much of a problem. Nothing much down here in the bottom of Blind's hut, but there is a big 300, and that's particularly important in retro.
Yeah, finding all these rupees super early, you know, we're sitting at 661. You know, if we have to check Zora, that's 500 of those right there. You know, if we have to buy bombs like you just mentioned, 50 rupees, it all adds up so fast. And the runners both checking that same house, looking for one of those Take Any Caves. This is something you don't normally see in like a normal open mode seed like people are used to watching, but this is something runners will do in retro mode.
In fact, it's more like an entrance rando, where all the entrances in the world can be mixed up with one another. You can walk into a house in Kakariko and end up in a completely different place in the world. But they're going to be looking for those Take Any Caves. There's 4 of those in the world, plus the extra cave with a it's dangerous to go alone, take this sword. And Brewers does pick up some bombs, as does Khloe.
Yeah, that's a safe bet here. You don't want to have to potentially double dip. I mean, I know Brewers Fan has already done Blind's Hut, but we don't want to have to double dip that potentially for Khloe, and we definitely don't want to have to double dip the well either. Those could be minor time sinks. And we found one of our Take Any Caves.
The first cave.
Yeah, and they both take that heart container, so that's going to be a little bit more leeway in the health department.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to farm bombs in a hut today, but a hut container is more than a worthy trade.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd definitely take the heart container over being able to farm some early bombs.
Brewers is leaving the bottle vendor alone at the moment. We'll see if he decides to pay up for what he may be selling to us today.
All right, Kakariko Well just has so far a big 20. Now we can get 2 little 5 rupee drops here. Also a piece of heart. So generous with this cash at small amounts. And there's the glove. The glove is going to be our first little piece of progression. We already had that moon pearl, but now keeping in mind, Brewers Fan has not gone to that area yet to pick that up. And there's our blue mail on the bottle vendor.
100 rupees for blue mail? I would definitely take that in hard mode.
So also in hard mode, blue mail is the highest armor we're going to see both of our runners have today. There is no red mail. So this is as strong as we get as far as defense.
I believe the red mail still exists somewhere in the world, but if they've already picked up their first mail upgrade, it's just going to turn into a green 20. Same with the 4th sword upgrade. Alright, Brewers is leaving Kakariko now. He's going to check what's on the library, see if we need boots today.
All right, just a heart piece up there on the library ledge today. Pretty sure both runners are going to end up leaving that behind, even if we do find the boots.
Just the regular and almost completely ignored minigame in the minigame house. Brewers is just going to check the race rather than diving straight in. Race game. There's a small key there. Yep, he's going to go back and get it.
Yeah, those small keys are valuable. Totally worth this time investment to save 100 rupees. Keys are just so valuable, and we may see our runners do something like you see a lot in Key Sanity. If we get to Palace of Darkness, you may see them be doing the bomb jump or save scumming a key, as we call it, where you would use one, check the sides, and if you don't like it, you could see a save and quit out or a reset out of them.
And like mentioned before, there's 10 less keys to find in the world in retro mode, and because this is hard mode as well, it's actually 15 less keys. One thing that does surprise me actually is that neither of these runners did an early Houlihan play to pick up the good 200-ish rupees in there, which is a real boon in retro mode.
Yeah, that's a
very Brewers might be
point.
looking to do that right now. Generally, you would exit out of Sanctuary, go to the right past the graveyard, and then use the jump off into the water bit to displace your sprite, and jump into the hole, and then you would descend into the Houlihan room. First, he's going to check the back of Escape, though. You can also use the Houlihan on this particular gravestone as well, so they don't need to go all the way to the right past the graveyard. And the back of Escape is loaded with cash.
More and more cash. That's just more peace of mind for our runners. All right, Brewers fans still ignoring that early Hyrule Castle play to get that Moon Pearl. Checking this cave. You don't normally see this in Rando again. Still looking for more of those take any caves.
I imagine he'll probably try and dive the castle once he gets a means of offense, so that he can clear out the whole place. You can do it with just bombs, but generally you'd only be wanting to do that with a full complement of 10 bombs, and that's if you are burdened with them in standard mode. Khloe is checking the Fortune Teller's hut by Lake Hylia. If this was the Super Metroid and Link to the Past combo randomizer, they would be in Norfair right now. Or rather, Criteria, I should say.
Right,
Criteria.
That looked to be one of our medallions there on the Lake Hylia Island. And right above Lake Hylia, we found one of our first shops. There is the, you see our Khloe buying those items. We've got a key for 100, that wooden arrow we talked about for 80, and some bombs that'll still be there in that shop. So you can go in and actually farm these as much as you want. So Khloe is going to be stocking up on keys here.
Our tracker tells us that Ether Medallion was seen on Lake Hylia, which I missed myself, unfortunately. So if we need Ether today to get into Misery Mire or Turtle Rock, they are going to need that mirror.
Our Brewers fans still getting more rupees here. And speaking of our tracker, I'm going to give a big shout out to Itsu Demo doing the tracking for us today, and really appreciate that.
Brewers is looking for either a cache cave or a take any cave, and he just finds the cache cave. But he's almost on 1,000 rupees now. He's pretty good for now.
Oh, and there's our first take any cave with a sword. So now we've got our level 1 sword here for Brewers Fan.
It's dangerous to go alone. So Brewers is working his way towards desert. He cannot get in without the book, but he is going to check out Aghanims cave here, and Khloe is meanwhile going to check out Sahasrahla, or as I prefer to call it given my username, Sahasrahla.
All right, let's see. Is Khloe going to talk to Sahasrahla today, and we find out early what our green pendant is? I know, but we do have a shovel, flippers, and a heart container. Flippers are going to be a little useful for us here. We don't have to do fake flippering anymore to do some of these little checks. Now those are actually in logic.
Meanwhile, BrewersFan only found 3 bombs in the Aghanims cave, so we'll see where he goes next. I think he's going to go to Mini Moldorp cave.
All right, and Khloe now heading over to go ahead and check that dig spot, since we did get that early shovel. All right, we're going to have a plethora of checks here very quickly. We just got to take out these 4 Moldorms, or mini Moldorms rather, inside of this cave.
Oh, we have dug up some Titan's mitts. Wow, that is super nice to find.
Insane. We're 11.5 minutes into this seed. We've already got Titan's mitts and the Moon Pearl, so that is our Dark World access. Granted, it's only from Kakariko at the moment. Let's see, just a heart piece, 5 rupees, a big 20. The Book of Medora, that would have been nice to have a minute ago, and another heart container. But yeah, I know Brewers fans thinking now, do I need to go back and route in Desert? So Desert is now open to us, unless we need the boots for the torch item.
I don't believe you have the map check yet, so we don't know whether Desert is a pendant or a crystal.
Yeah, runners you'll see sometimes in all dungeon seeds, they don't want to waste those few seconds checking the map initially, because they're going to have to do all the dungeons anyway, so early on it's a clear out what you can type scenario.
So we're going to have a quick look at what is in the Iceworld cave here.
And Khloe retracing Brewers fan steps in the dam area.
Nothing in the cave below the rock, which you almost never see.
You know, I will say I'm kind of surprised to see Brewers fan checking so many more caves right now. We already got 1 heart container. We already got a sword. You know, the other 2 swords are going to be somewhere in the overworld. So it's kind of one of those deals of I kind of just feel they, you know, should go ahead and try to save a little bit of time and stop checking these caves potentially.
Khloe is going to get their Book of Medora before they go to Desert, so that's going to help save them a little bit of time. You know, BrewersFan is checking out the Lake Hylia shop. They are going to pick up a few small keys and their wooden arrows.
Now, Brewers fan did take the time to go get that key from the race game. So now, Brewers fan only going to opt to go out with 3 keys at the moment.
He's going to go loop over to Eastern and Sahasrahla. They don't have a light source, and they don't have a bow either to actually use those wooden arrows, so much of it is not in logic, and they won't be able to finish it if they do decide to dip inside.
One thing to make note right here is when Brewers fan gets his shovel, it will be interesting to see if he decides to go ahead and go do that dig spot. If he doesn't, that could be quite a while before he can route that in to get the Titan's mitts.
Meanwhile, Khloe is heading into Dark World.
All right, looks like Khloe is going to give us a look inside of Skull Woods first instead of Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town. No fire rod here, so we cannot get to the back of it.
Yeah, I believe there's 2 items you can find in Skull Woods.
Well, it's normally 2, but all the small keys except the guaranteed one here, those are changed now to other items potentially. So things can get really crazy early on.
JP is meanwhile taking a swim. He sees Eva on the Lake Hylia Island, and he's going to go pay a visit to our favorite hobo under the bridge.
Oh, and there's a sword upgrade on Khloe's side. So Khloe now, with the level 1 sword, putting them on equal footing, but as soon as one of them retraces the other steps to find that Take Any Cave, or when BrewersFan heads into Skullwoods, we'll see that level 2 sword, and that's the minimum requirement we need to beat Ganon.
The hobo today has very little cash on his person and gives over all of it because he's being threatened with a sword by JP. Khloe takes a death warp out of Skullwoods and is going to go check the other side of it. Well, JP is going to go loop up and check the waterfall cave and possibly go pay a visit to King Scammer.
And one thing to point out, that was a very smart death warp there by Khloe. Going into that key room to get that key, and then not using it to get out. So very smart move.
Nothing but cash in the waterfall cave today. This has been an extremely wealthy seed so far. That's a very good thing considering it's retro mode, but unusually wealthy.
Now, I'm not sure if BrewersFan has picked up anything of note since doing their last save and quit. So it'll be interesting to see if Zora has progression. That's great. We'll take it. If it's trash, we may see a hard reset here to preserve those 500 rupees.
What does the king have for us today? A partial refund. Not worth it. And he actually takes the save and quit.
The save and quit. A little surprised by that move, but does make sense, especially if they found progression along the way. And with those prize packs, from the crabs being 80 rupees, the big 20s flying out, that you can make that up pretty quickly.
This is good for JP. He is going to go check the dig spot and get those Titan Smiths. He still needs to loop in escape and get that moon purfer, and possibly when he does that, he's going to go all the way through escape and get all the items that can be found in there, while Khloe is checking out the Village of Outcasts.
And there's the Titan's Mitts there for BrewersFan. All right, I'm going to assume BrewersFan is going to be heading back over to the Hyrule Castle area to do the escape area. Oh, I'm wrong here. We're going to see him go down potentially to the desert area.
After a bit of a cash
really
fight first.
Yeah, I was really hoping he would go up there. We know that Moon Pearl is in that chest near our uncle, so we're definitely going to have to go up there sooner than later.
Nothing of much of note in Village of Outcasts so far. I imagine Khloe will probably be going into Thieves Town after this. You only need 1 small key for Thieves Town, as I remember, so that's a reasonable sacrifice. Although they don't have the hammer, so there's not even any reason to go in that room to begin with.
All right, and nothing of note there on the desert ledge, but we are going to see BrewersFan head inside of the Desert Palace.
Ooh, hookshot in front of Thieves. That is a great find for Khloe. Means, no, we can't get to the East Dark World from here. We're still going to need either the hammer or Agahnim. Nothing these 2 runners would like to really consider because it's 200 rupees to get to the top of the tower. You need 2 small keys.
Yeah, and one thing of note here, by getting that hookshot, it does make the sequence break right now because we don't have a lamp. The sequence break to head up to Death Mountain is a little more appealing, especially with Titan's Mitts in hand. This is going to give us all the access to the eastern part of Death Mountain, as well as eastern Dark Death Mountain.
A unique item is in Thieves Town. Yep, we already established that. We do only have a map on the torch, so we're not boots locked today. but
Oh, and there's the boots on Khloe's side. This is gonna speed things up for Khloe. So, you know, the longer BrewersFan goes without those boots, that's more of a gap, I feel. You know, with those, you know, the boots do make up quite a bit of time.
I was talking about Desert Palace not being boots locked, and then Khloe found the boots. Commentator's blessing, perhaps? I think I need to balance this out of a jinx later.
All right, we got our big key now in the vanilla big key chest here inside Desert. Khloe a little low on health here. One thing to make note of, these little green lizards that run around like the rats in Light World, they're, even with the blue mail, they're going to take 1 full heart of damage off. So you want to make sure you avoid them.
Just a troll intel in the Thieves Town attic, so we're going to hit the crystal switch and send back up there properly this time. Just a compass in the big chest, and JP is safe and quitting. I hope he's going to go escape next. Looks like that is going to be the play, so this is going to work out very well for him.
Khloe making a nice use of that hook shot there to take care of these green lizards. Instead of stunning them, it actually kills them. So that's in one shot, actually. So that's really a really good thing.
And they also find a bottle in the attic, so if we need to go back into the Dark World from Kakariko, we can route in a sick kid check too.
All right, BrewersFan about to be picking up his Moon Pearl. There it is. So now BrewersFan has his Dark World access as well. Oh, and our stun prize today for killing an Overworld enemy is a big 20 as well. So that's another blessing from this seed as far as money goes.
So many cash farm sources.
All right, just a heart piece in the maiden cell. So now Khloe will be heading up to go ahead and get this blind fight taken care of.
Meanwhile, BrewersFan is going to sequence break at the back of Escape, and he's going to get the one chest here, which can have any potential item in it. And we'll see if he decides to spend a key to... no, he checked out the graveyard. He doesn't need to spend a key. Never mind me. Meanwhile, Khloe is going to face off with Blind.
All right, BrewersFan running into a little bit of trouble here. Got a little low health inside back of Escape. This room can be a little tricky without Fire Rod to light a torch, but we'll probably see the item check here in just a moment.
Khloe getting a little bit of sequence with Blind. They took a hit there. 3 more hits will finish him, though. 1 more hit, and he's down.
Very nice fight there from Khloe.
So that is our first pendant from Thieves Town.
All right, and this is all dungeons, so this is definitely going to be required. So, you know, a lot of times you don't see the runners going in the pendant dungeons unless you have to, but in all dungeons, they are all required, so these all have to be done.
The Chain Nerd is asking for a recap of the race in 5 words or fewer. So here's your recap. Cash, 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 cash.
Yeah, no doubt. Cash everywhere as far as the item drops go. And Khloe is going to be playing the lesser seen minigame here in Dark World, but it does pay out quite a bit. There is a strategy Khloe's using here that will give you an automatic perfect game. You just basically stand directly beside the vendor there to start it up. And then when one of the targets hits dead center of that second curtain, you just fire straight ahead. And for 2 straight cycles, you're guaranteed to get it.
Oh, and we've just got a big 20 from the digging game. Not many digs, but...
Ooh, Khloe's doing an item dash out of there. That's going to be a little bit of a time problem because it keeps that shovel active. So that is technically a little bit of a soft lock. So they're going to have to save and quit now.
I suspect they were just memeing a little bit too hard there. Khloe is heading towards King's Tomb, whilst we are going to see what's in the bottom of Escape. Just a piece of heart in the tomb.
All right, BrewersFan finishing off that little mini boss, and we've just got 3 bombs in the cell of Escape today. Khloe going to be coming over here to check our other bonk location. We already know that Aga or Lumberjack Cave is dead, so this will be our last bonk location, and it's just a big 5 rupees today. BrewersFan heading over to Kakariko again. Looks like probably going to make their first dip into Dark World, and no, probably checking, I guess checking this bottle vendor now that we have a bottle in hand.
Just a sick kid. I haven't seen the sick kid himself give out
yes.
too many bottles. He needs that bottle to get thrown in the first place. And just 10 bombs from him today. Almost simultaneous checks by our runners here.
Yeah, a little bit of sync from our runners, but looks like Khloe is going to be dashing ahead since they have the boots in hand.
With a little collision against a tree first. Right, so we've got our map check. I believe that was a red crystal at Skull Woods. I didn't quite catch the rest of it. Ah yes, it was a red crystal at Ice Palace too. So 5 and 6 are Skull Woods and Ice Palace.
All right, so BrewersFan's going to be heading into Skull Woods, most likely going to be getting that level 2 sword that we saw Khloe get their first sword inside here. Khloe doing the South Dark World check here, the Dark World tour here with the frog.
Gemma is going to see a bit of a scenery, to pay a visit to his old friend Stumpy, and collect just a big 20 from him.
All right, there's that Master Sword there for JP.
Well, Khloe is heading over to Hype Cave. The Fog never seems particularly excited about going into Hype Cave, but, well, Hype Cave is called Hype Cave for a reason.
Yeah, let's see how hype it is for us today.
Brewers is checking out that bouncing mummy, waiting for a bouncing Gibdo, waiting for a Wall Master to abduct him and take him back to the entrance. Ooh, we've got
Quake and the Mirror and another sword upgrade. So both runners now at Master Sword, but you know, once BrewersFan gets there, that'll be Tempered Sword for him. So that's very useful information here.
I'd give that an 8 out of 10 on the hype scale.
Yeah, that's the hypest hype cave I've seen in quite some time. Khloe going ahead and make this play now to get the Ether Medallion that we saw on the Lake Helia Island.
A very good choice to make whilst you're in the area. The blacksmith didn't seem to get stuck in the water for a bit in the light world, whilst on land.
Yeah, the blacksmith there kind of had that attitude of, what am I doing here? This is not my home.
Khloe is meanwhile looping over to the Dark World Ice World cave, and there's, I believe, 3 caves here to check on the Dark World side as well, so any of those could be a take any cave.
They could be a take any cave, and this is also one of the lesser seen hint tile locations potentially. If it is vanilla, I believe, I'm not sure how that's going to work here in Retro, if it's guaranteed to be a hint tile location inside this this rock area.
Khloe making a very smart use of that mirror there. They actually didn't check these caves earlier, so they can check out these 3 caves and then check out the other 3 caves in the Dark World. Excellent routing.
Yeah, this is super solid play here, because especially if you want to potentially check that hint too. Like I said, not many runners will check this unless they have the mirror and are playing inverted mode. But this is Retro, this is normal, so it's pretty rare to see, in my opinion.
JP is clearing out the village of outcasts at the moment. He's probably going to head into Thieves' Town right after and be very pleased with what he finds there.
Yeah, that is where Khloe has picked up the hookshot and the boots. So very crucial to get there.
Poor Jeremiah, he's getting turned into a fog repeatedly so far. He thinks he's in the light world and back to his regular form, and then he just gets really transformed back into a fog again.
All right,
some
there's
caches
a
and Turtle Rock.
super useful hint there. Some caches and Turtle Rock. I guess you could say it might be actually useful and not just jokingly useful since this is retro mode.
Well, to be fair, we found cache pretty much everywhere so far.
Yeah, no doubt. And Khloe's still taking the frog on the absolute full clear world tour of South Dark World. I like it.
They actually didn't go into the whirlpool though, which I believe will take them to the north part of the Dark World near the Catfish. So they could check out the pyramid there, but they can just descend the step ladder here and get to the east side this way. Gonna see what's in the fairy fountain here.
Right now, BrewersFan has picked up their hookshot, and I believe we're going to be getting those boots in that vanilla big key chest.
Khloe is rooting in a hobo check too. This mirror has really made Khloe's routing extremely efficient, at the cost of this poor blacksmith.
All right, and there's the boots for JP. So now we are speedy boys.
And I imagine he is going to do the exact same as Khloe did and finish off Thieves' Town whilst he is here. Meanwhile, we're going to take a look at what's on the pyramid.
I'll be curious to see if Khloe will go ahead and route in. And there's a small key, so that's very useful. But I'll be curious to see if Khloe's going to go ahead, since they're doing all this overworld checking, to route in the Catfish as well.
Well, we've already shown Jeremiah a lot of the local scenery. Why not some more? He's had a good day out.
Yeah,
we can also... Sorry.
No, I was going to say, it does look like we are getting that Catfish check. Go ahead.
Khloe can also check out the house here and see if... Well, nope, they're skipping right past the house.
So we're speaking of Khloe's routing here and how efficient it's been for these overworld checks. I don't believe Khloe's actually come up here yet to do the Waterfall Cave or Zora's area. So this is very efficient to go ahead and knock all of these out at one time.
Thinking about it, to correct myself actually, I don't think the blacksmith can actually be brought into the house like that. I think he can go into the Waterfall Cave though. And Catfish has our worst possible rupee reward today. Very grumpy fish, very stingy.
Yeah, and Khloe is rounding all this in. Very nice. 20 rupees and 50 inside here. We do know that we don't have anything progression-wise on Zora today, just 50 rupees on Zora, so not really worth it as far as the cash goes. And our free item from the fairies today for throwing in the bottles is blue goo. That's also going to be very useful.
Yeah, if they need any safeties for Ganon's Tower or wherever else, just throw in a few bottles. Instant money save.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those deals where if you're going to want safeties, that's what you want to do. You want to route that in more so than the Witch's Hut, because the Witch's Hut is 160 a pop versus free. You kind of want to go with the free option as long as you don't have to expend too much time to do it.
Meanwhile, our blacksmith is going to be demonstrating some life lessons today.
The moral of the story is never trust a big fish with 500 rupees.
Brewers is facing off against Blind here.
Got a little off script there, but Brewers fan finishing up rather nicely and going to be rewarded there with the blue pendant.
We don't know if anything's unpaired yet. Both runners have the book, and if they decide to go back to Scarlet, they could well root in the ped check. Since this is an all dungeon seed, an all dungeon seed though, we are going to have to clear those pendants one way or another.
Yeah, so chat's going to get their wish of seeing Aga 1. We may see it at the very end though, with the efficient routing. Especially since now we have the mirror in hand already, and we know that we don't need anything progression-wise from the Lumberjack Cave. So most likely, the runners will do a thing where they beat Aga 2, and then they'll mirror on top of the pyramid right before fighting Ganon to do Aga 1.
Unfortunately, Khloe couldn't root in the mirroring from Darkworld to get straight back and pick up the purple chest. They did pick up 300 rupees for the blacksmith though. A very large payment for a significantly long world tour for the blacksmith. We'll see how far Brewers fan decides to take the blacksmith as well.
All right,
Khloe is... Sorry.
I was going to say, Brewers fan is checking Stumpy now just to get a little bit of cash. But now we'll be able to go ahead. Chloe's going to route in the purple chest here and see what our chest opening specialist has for us.
Can't check the magic bat today because we don't have the powder or the cane for fake powder. Well, actually the mushroom, the mushroom. They're both red. They're easy to confuse.
All right, so Brewers fan heading into Hype Cave now, going to be getting those progression items that we see Khloe have, getting that small key first, but also going to be getting that tempered sword and the Quake medallion and the mirror. Absolutely incredible Hype Cave.
So wherever our last sword is now, that's just going to turn into a green 20. Still, blue male tempered sword at 37 minutes into a hard mode seed, that is a very decent amount of offensive and defensive capability.
And Brewers fan also remembering that, or maybe not, that medallion being on Lake Helia Island. I was thinking he'd go pick that up, but doesn't look like he's doing that yet.
He is skipping the Darkworld Iceworld cave check, so he saves a little bit of time there, but he's still got quite a way to catch up on Khloe at the moment.
All right, what does our purple chest specialist have for us today? Just a big 20. A little bit of a disappointment, but maybe we can put that 20 to use. It's 1/5 of a key after all.
We're going to get a bomber's tablet check, and I imagine Khloe will probably try and clear out desert afterwards. We have some bombs from the sky. Bombs at bomber's tablet? Not quite correct.
All right, that's a vanilla shop there in the Darkworld Witch's Hut area. So no retro type shop today for us there.
Meanwhile, Khloe is checking out a few of the caves at... No, go back in there. You've got to pick up your temper sword.
Yeah, gotta get that. That's super appealing because of how, how much extra damage that thing does. You don't want to leave that behind.
And if we're forced to do Ganon without silver arrows, or we run out of cash to even use silver arrows in the first place, we've got pretty fast spin strats available to us now.
Yeah, much easier to do silverless Ganon strategies with the tempered sword versus the master sword.
JP is taking the blacksmith on a bit longer of a world tour, I don't believe a blacksmith was brought to this area on Khloe's side, so he is getting to see the whole world of Hyrule today.
Yeah, going everywhere but the mountains of Hyrule seems to be the case today.
Yeah, we have no lamp, we have no flute. It's not quite in logic yet. I imagine both of these runners are very good. They will know for sure how to get through the Death Mountain entrance in the dark. But it's not in logic yet, so there's not too much incentive to get up there just yet.
It seems, honestly, I feel like it's more appealing now to potentially do that sequence break, unless we see a lamp here pretty quickly, just because of, you know, we've got the hookshot, and now we also have that mirror, so it will be pretty easy to route in all of those East Death Mountain and East Dark Death Mountain checks.
Something I have actually never seen yet. What would happen when you confront the old man with the blacksmith in tow? Do you escort both of them, or does the old man just throw insults at you?
I do believe that it actually drops. You can't carry two people at one time, so I believe what's going to happen is it would drop the blacksmith. But then again, it may not even let you go in that cave with the blacksmith. I haven't checked that myself.
BrewersFan gets his own payment for taking the blacksmith on a bit of a tour. Not quite as long as Khloe, but he got to see some new locations. He's had a very good day today, the blacksmith. And I believe BrewersFan is going to go do that Death Mountain check.
And Khloe seeing that hint that a unique items in Thieves Town. We already know that. There was a couple of unique items there. We're just hoping for their sake. There's not one in that big chest that we had to leave behind. JP doing a very nice job here at this dark room. It's one of the ones. It's not the easiest thing to do. However, you know, they make it look so smooth. There are a couple of pits you can fall in, but once you know the routing of this is probably one of the easier ones out of all the dark rooms.
And if you're unsure, the sword sparkles and a map help you significantly in there. You just have to dodge the pits. Old Man gives us a big bit of love today, and the save point, which is very useful by itself. Considering this is a hard mode seed, our runners are very well off in terms of swords, heart containers, and mail.
Yeah, this seed's been very, very generous to the runners early on here, just with all the hearts, all the rupees. Haven't seen a lot of Overworld keys yet, so we may be seeing more of those sooner than later.
Yep, our tracker reminds me that Khloe actually cannot clear Desert Ether. No fire source. We know that the fire source is going to be fired somewhere in logic, because we would need to get up to Death Mountain.
Kind of thought Khloe may do Swamp there. You know, that's there's a lot of chests in Swamp, and we're fully kitted out to do it. Oh, I take that back. We don't have the hammer, so that would probably be kind of like one of those 9,000 IQ plays if we go in long enough to see if the hammer's in the first chest.
And what that is the lamp on Spectacle Rock.
Oh,
that means somewhere we're going to find flute. Flute is in logic somewhere.
Yeah, that's interesting news. That means Mire area is going to also be opened up when we do find that flute. So before we come up here, logic indicates we've got to have it. So that's going to be very nice when they find it.
Khloe is meanwhile going to take their supply of keys into Powers of Darkness, the most notorious dungeon for eating all of your keys. This is one of the dungeons that is probably the most notorious one in key sanity for the amount of keys you would need to do all of the checks in here and clear it. And in retro mode, it's a bit easier to get through, but you need to get those keys from elsewhere. And considering this is hard mode, there's less keys to be found. We need to buy more. But in the first test, we find a key anyway, so...
Yeah, I was about to say, you need 6 if you want to go through every key door, but with finding that gives 6. We don't have that bow yet, though, so we can't go to that back area yet to fight Helmasaur.
going to check what's in the vanilla big key chest here. Unlike usual, it's probably not going to be a key to get a key.
And Tower of Hera only has a couple of joke hints for us today, so no useful information to get from there.
The gnome asks you to guess his name. Who is the gnome?
And unfortunately there, JP taking a hit from that fireball and falling down, trying to set up that bonk trick there to kind of hit yourself on that chest and come back over the gap, but not quite there today.
We get a much more useful hint in Palace of Darkness. A bottle is in Mimic Cave. Khloe, you do not have a bow, so they are going to use the potion glitch here to displace the camera and glitch past these mimics.
Ooh.
Oh no!
They went a little too far to the left, so they're not going to be able to use that potion glitch today. I got nervous when Khloe walked off the wall. Usually you want to hug that right side wall after using that potion. And on Brewers Fan's side, we see he's taking out Moldorm, rewarded with first crystal of the day as well as 100 rupees. So even more money pouring in from these bosses.
We're going to see what's on the non-Burlock side of pods for now. Whilst JP is making his way over to East Death Mountain. It's technically logic for him now that he has that map, but he doesn't have the item that was really necessary to get up here, which should have been the flute.
Yeah, we know we're not going to find the flute over there, but we could get some other form of progression. So now we're going to make use of that mirror here so we can actually make a little portal here, check Paradox Cave as we see Khloe picking up the bug net. I'm going to use that mirror portal on JP's side to go back into Dark World, and that way can do a little efficient routing strategies here.
We're going to see a rarely seen shop first. And it's just a vanilla shop, no keys. He's going to use a mirror to get rid of his very inconvenient block here.
All right, Khloe setting up the hammer yump. Let's see, and pulls it off rather nicely. Only rewarded with 5 rupees for it, though, but gets to save that key, so in a way you could say it's 105 rupees. All right, we got more heart pieces, or a heart piece rather, as well as a key. Some more money here in Paradox Cave. Even more money, and even more money. Money just flying out everywhere.
Yeah, it's just actually been a reversal for pretty much the majority of seeds lately. It tends to be Paradox Cave is loaded with items, Hype Cave is really deflated hype. But today it's been more traditional. Hype Cave is super hype, Paradox Cave is not so hype. In this shop we do have some keys, and JP has got so much money right now. He is going to stock up on keys. Or just one key.
Only taking 1 key there. Kind of surprising, given you know where it's at. But now we do know that there are going to be some more keys in the overworld, so, you know, no need to panic. 7 is quite a few keys to have, though, so we're going to be loaded out to have to have most of our dungeons opened up for us rather easily, as we see Khloe get the red and inferior boomerang.
It flies further, it flies faster, but it also lags your game.
And even on East Dark Death Mountain, not a whole lot yet. Now I know we've got Hookshot Cave coming up, but just 2 big 5s in the Super Bunny Cave today. And we're gonna get our check here of Turtle Rock to see what that medallion is, and it is Quake. So we have that in hand. Once we get our Fire and Ice Rod, we'll be able to full clear it after getting the cane. We need that cane just to navigate it.
We need quite a lot of progression items still to truly check out everything in the seed. The bow is proving particularly elusive, and the bow is quite an integral part of Retro, considering you need a lot of cash to actually use it.
Honestly, my favorite Retro seeds are the ones where you get the bow super late. Just some cash so far, a bottle, and...
Oh, there's that flute. Flute is in
Alright.
Eastern Palace.
Flute.
So
now we know where the logic
now we know
is.
Yep.
Now with Mire in hand, that's going to open up the mire area as well as the checkerboard cave. I know that's only one check, but having that, being able to route it all in at one time is super nice.
We can also check out quite a lot of Misery Mire at the moment. We won't be able to clear it because we don't have the red cane, but there's a few items to be found in the majority portion of Misery Mire.
And it looks like Brewers fan may have saved and quit unintentionally there. Not sure if he meant to do that or not, but now we're headed back up the mountain on his side to go, I'm assuming, check out Spiral Cave.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. The Spiral Cave doesn't prove much problem today. We've got the boots and we've even got the hookshot for those annoying berries.
Khloe there doing a very nice job of the Eastern Palace Dark Runes. And there's Arcane inside of Spiral Cave. That's going to be very nice. That's pretty much going to open up Mire for us as long as we have that medallion.
Khloe's heading on to the big key chest. We'll see if they decide to also check out the big key chest location. And nope, they are going to stay in logic for now. So I'm not quite sure where Brewers is going at the moment. Did they check the graveyard ledge?
I don't believe JP has checked the graveyard ledge. That could be where he's going. This is quite a far off one item check. So as we see Khloe activating the flute on the right side here.
Yep, as some people like to say, the duck is amok.
All right, so that now puts, for Khloe, that puts Death Mountain in logic. So we may see Khloe go ahead and head up to Death Mountain now to retrace JP steps as we see just 5 rupees inside the Graveyard Ledge Cave today.
Well, first we're actually going to get a Mire area check. I believe this area is actually called the Swamp of Sorrows, which doesn't really make sense because the Swamp Palace is east over yonder.
And a little piece of information we got there, we need ether to get inside of the Misery Mire. Khloe has ether. We know that is on the Lake Helia Island. Brewers fan has not opted to pick that up yet, so hopefully JP remembers where it's at. He went through that area, but he did not pick it up.
Yeah, he did manage to see it on the island, so I'm right past. Chat points out we actually have vanilla medallions requirements today.
That's something you unfortunately see more often than not. With a 1 in 3 shot, eventually that's going to happen.
Chloe's going to check out Death Mountain now. And they will get their lamp on Spectacle Rock and have quite a lot more things in logic. Nothing in K45.
All right, and while these runners are retracing each other's steps, just a kind of quick recap for you. We are playing a retro seed. It is all dungeons, and it is hard mode. We do have our maximum sword that we can have today, which is level 3. We've got our maximum armor, the blue mail, that we'll have. Right now, we've only got 1 pendant on Khloe's side and 1 pendant, 1 crystal on JP's side. We're 54 minutes in. Usually you see at least maybe 1 or 2 crystals, but hasn't been a whole lot of dungeon clearing progression items showing up yet.
Brewers is going to go check out the Bomber's tablet and see where he goes from the net afterwards. Meanwhile, Khloe is checking out East Death Mountain. Not a lot to be found there, but they will get that knowledge about Turtle Rock and also claim their Cane of Samaya from Spiral Cave, and maybe they will decide to go dip in Turtle Rock and check out what's in the front portion. They are still firelocked for the two chests on the right side, so if you don't find a small key in the front of Turtle Rock, no, my mistake. It's vet mode. They can just buy keys and get to the back of Turtle Rock. They are not firelocked in Turtle Rock up until they get to Trinex, unless the big key is on the right side.
All right, JP's dipping back into Desert Palace now with a fire source in hand via the lamp. We'll be able to actually go beat Landmo and see if there's any progression potentially on there, as well as give us our second pendant.
Unfortunately, he hasn't picked up the flutes yet, so he could make this a bit quicker to get into the back of Desert.
Yeah, unfortunately, we know that flute is in Eastern Palace. That play, I'm assuming, not as appealing to JP right now without the bow in hand. You don't want to have to dip Eastern twice if you don't have to, but it looks like that may be the case where we actually have to do that today. So we'll have to see where that pesky bow is going to show up at.
That reminds me that, of course, Turtle Rock is hammer-locked. They need the hammer to get down the peg so that they can get to the top of Turtle Rock to open it.
All right, Khloe making their way to the very disappointing Super Bunny Cave. Just 5 rupees today.
I have never actually seen a runner pull off the Super Bunny trick to get into Super Bunny Cave.
You don't see it as often now. I know long time ago, without doing too much of a history lesson, that it used to actually be in Logic where you have to do the Super Bunny trick, but that is not the case anymore.
Meanwhile, JP is going to go to take on Lamb Merlis. Did we get all the items from Desert?
Yes, we did. So this will be our final item. All right, each Landmo takes either 2 spin slashes from the Tempered Sword or 4 regular slashes. So JP doing a nice job here taking these out. All right, there's just a shield today, so not really anything useful here in Desert except that red pendant. So now we got 2/3 of that completed, and we know that our green pendant is Eastern, so we're going to have to get that bow before we can even start talking about the elusive pedestal.
Well, on Khloe's side, they've gone past Spiral Cave. We will see if they actually go back and return there. They see that the lamp is on Spectacle Rock and are going to go pick it up.
Now, I'm not sure if Brewers fan, maybe he did. I'm not sure if he actually checked the Ether tablet while up on Death Mountain.
I don't believe he had the sword to check it at the time.
Oh, no, he definitely had the sword, but maybe he did check it. We'll see if Khloe opts to run over there and check it out for us.
JP, meanwhile, is actually going to go into Swamp Palace. A very nice play to make. They've got the flippers, they've got the hookshot, they've got more than enough keys to get through the only door which they actually would need to find a small key for.
Yeah, if this turns out to be the hammer, super smart play to make. All right, our tracker's saying Brewers fan may have checked it. And now that blue 5 rupee is kind of ringing a bell, so I believe we did check it. No progression there today.
Some cash in a chest requiring a specialist to unlock. Unfortunately, we already did that chain on both runners' sides, so not a useful hint today.
All right, the first chest in Swamp, just a map. So nothing progression-wise there, not even the vanilla small key since we are in retro mode. So we'll have to see if there's any progression into second chest here.
I don't think JP is going to be skipping the left side today.
All right, just bombs. So now we cannot further advance into Swamp without that hammer. So, oh, and Khloe making the mistake of not grabbing the big key before heading up in Tower of Terror. That's going to be a small time loss. It looks like JP is remembering that the Ether Medallion here is on the Lake Helia Island, so we'll be picking that up.
Chat's asking about retro mode. In retro mode, our small keys are universal. They work in any dungeon, but we have to get them from different sources. You can buy keys for 100 rupees in specialized shops found around Hyrule. And you can also find extra heart containers in Take Any Caves. Retro mode is basically based on Zelda 1. You've got a lot of the things that you would find in Zelda 1, like the Take Any Caves. It's dangerous to go alone, take this cave, which will get you a sword upgrade. And the bow requires rupees to fire arrows with, rather than actual arrows. We don't have the bow yet, though, so not going to be spending cash for ammunition just yet.
And speaking of the bow using rupees to fire arrows, one thing to make note of, it is 10 rupees per wooden arrow and then 50 per silver. Now, those silvers are going to only be locked to the Ganon room today, since we are in hard mode. But you know, if it was a normal seed, you'd potentially see a lot of cash flying out, especially in that Vitreous fight.
JP is actually sending Agatha. He finds one vanilla small key, and the other chest was just 20 rupees, so nothing, no progression to be found here. But he is going to finish off Agatha, and because it's an all dungeon seed, it is a necessary dungeon to clear. Most runners will prefer to do it on the way back from Ganon's tower before dipping into Ganon.
Yeah, very smart idea here from JP, because since this is retro, we may or may not get keys from those two chests, and it looks like we did get one key, as we mentioned a second ago, but you know, there could have been progression here, so it was very heads-up play to go ahead and, you know, jump in here and finish this dungeon.
I believe actually in the previous retro mode seed there was a necessary item in Agatha, and BrewersFanJP missed it for a long time, so they don't want to leave anything to chance here.
You know, another thing to make note of, neither of our runners, you know, I know Khloe left the King of Samaria up on Death Mountain, but neither of our runners did the Tower of Hera basement. A lot of runners don't like to make that play. That is quite the time sink, but I hate to say it, but if we didn't guarantee that the map or compass is in there, that could be our progression item.
Chad pointing out that yes, Khloe didn't actually go into Spiral Cave. They have missed the Cane of Samaria. That's a very nasty location to leave behind. Hopefully they will come back and get that cane.
All right, JP making his way into the Aga room, and then we're going to have this Aga fight. So we need 6 reflected shots back at Aga to finish him off for the first encounter with him. But we could get a lot of blue balls, so let's see how many blue balls Agahnim has for us today.
The seed's been kind of stingy so far, so I am betting on 5 blue balls. And the first cast he does when he first starts the fight, or whenever he casts his lightning spell, is always going to be a regular projectile. That's 1 blue ball. But any of the other casts he does has a 50% chance to be a blue ball. That's 2 blue balls.
And one thing to make note of, the number of blue balls that JP is going to get, Khloe will be getting that exact same amount. As long as they don't miss potentially one of the reflective shots, they will get the same amount. That is seeded in the seeds as well, so there's no variance between the two.
Three blue balls. If I could do a vampire accent, I'd be imitating one right about now. Meanwhile, Khloe is going to be following in JP's footsteps and also clearing out Agatha. 3 blue balls today.
All right, so it looks like we're getting closer to potentially having to go back up to Tower of Hera. You know, I will say that I didn't notate whether or not the guaranteed map or compass was down in the basement, but I'd really hate for our runners to get bottlenecked there.
I think the map was going to be in the basement because I remember seeing the compass in the first room of the basement, and I don't recall seeing the map anywhere else.
I follow. Yeah, if that's the case, then good. We don't have to worry about making a trip back up just for that. But we're kind of in a weird scenario here. JP does not have that flute yet that Khloe does, and Khloe managed to leave that cane. So you need both of those. They both have that ether medallion to get into Mire. I kind of am getting the feeling now that Mire is going to be our progression since we already have seen Palace of Darkness on Khloe's side.
JP is in the right area to get that flute though. He's only got 5 small keys for Palace of Darkness, so he's probably just going to dip a small portion of it, exit out, mirror, and then hopefully get that flute.
And we do know this first key down here is a small key, so that'll be useful. It saves 100 rupees, you know, now and or later.
So whilst we are seeing these runners retrace each other's steps again, I will remind you to give them a follow. These two runners are big veterans of Link to the Past Randomizer. They are very good, always put on excellent spaces. If you like what you see today, give them a follow.
Yeah, let's revisit while they are retracing each other's steps. They're both out of Group F from the tournament. Brewers Fan has 2 games left, including this one. Khloe is on their last game. They are both at 6 points, and Mentos Man is in second place of that group, currently with 7 points. Khloe's in a must-win situation to keep their tournament hopes alive. JP Fan also sitting at 6 points, so also kind of almost a must-win situation. So the pressure is on, I would feel, for both of these runners if they do want to advance.
By far the most critical game of the group stages.
Yeah, no doubt. So these guys putting on a show for you today. As he mentioned, give them a follow and show them your support.
Chat mentions that Mentos, like our runners today, has a losing record. I believe he's 6 wins, 9 losses. The thing is, Jet082 is in this group, and Jet082 has pretty much blitzed through everyone else. He's pretty notorious for that.
Yeah, it's not so much about your record. It is about points. Now, wins with the way the group stage work, count as 1 point. If we have a tie, that counts as a half point. Ties being within 2 seconds of each other on the official SRL timer. So we're in a situation where second place does have a losing record at 7 and 8, and you know, that's mainly due to the way these guys have kind of been taking matches off each other. But everyone's still in that group. Pretty much everyone still has a shot almost at second place, so it's very, very close. All right, Brewers Fan opting to use that key to come in this the dark maze. So a little shocked by that, but maybe Brewers Fan doesn't want to take the time or the risk of, you know, the time expenditure to do that hammer jump. We are pretty loaded with money, so we could just buy more keys.
Indeed. He is going to go into Eastern. This is going to work out very well for him. No bow yet. We have absolutely no idea where the bow is, but that flute is logically required.
All right, Khloe heading over to the Mire area now. May decide to dip it, which probably a smart play, but we don't have that cane, so we can't full clear it yet.
First, they are going to go beat Land Mullers themselves, though.
Yeah, both of our runners, like they've been doing for a little bit now, are retracing each other's steps. So this is going to kind of put them on even footing. Khloe will be catching up here as far as the pendant count goes, and JP will be catching up as far as the items go. The big difference right now is that Khloe did leave the Canis Maria in the Spiral Cave up on Death Mountain.
Where do you think the bow could be today?
Bow can pretty much be anywhere, I think, at this point. But the it would not surprise me to see it show up in Mire. You know, that seems like the place to go right now, based on, you know, we've almost full cleared everything as far as the overworld and as many dungeons as we have access to, including that first 2 chests of swamp. So we may see the bow in Mire, but I think regardless of what it is, we're going to get some type of progression there.
One consolation we have is that bow cannot be in Ganon's Tower because Palace of Darkness today is a crystal.
All right, Khloe doing a very nice job there on Landmo inside Desert Palace, being rewarded with that red pendant.
JP is going to get the last few items in Eastern Palace that he can, and then he's probably going to go Mire like Khloe.
Ooh, and it looks like Khloe is going to be taking that dip into Mire. So this is kind of a weird situation, because if we get progression anywhere except Vitreous, that could open up more things for Khloe to do and get further and further away from the cane, making it come later and later. So it's really going to depend on where that progression shows up.
If Vitreous holds an item like Fire Rod or Ice Sword, that could end up very, very bad for Khloe. Because we're going to need both rods to get into Turtle Rock. It's a crystal today. So we're not going to be able to go up Ganon's Tower without both rods. JP is going to go activate the flute, and then we'll see where they end up with it after this.
Ooh, and Khloe having a little bit of trouble here in this opening room, where we have to clear out all these enemies before that door will open for us. Finally getting all of them taken out and being able to advance further into Misery Mire.
We now have 2 loose gooses from both of our runners.
All right, and Khloe's opting to do left side of Mire first. Since this is retro, we've got keys, and smart to go ahead and knock it out. We haven't seen any hints yet about what's fire-locked in Misery Mire, so might as well go ahead and check it. Like I said, we're running out of locations to check.
We're going to go see what's in the attic, and the cuts, because they are not checking out the basement in here today, the attic gives them a little bit of a cutscene, a little bit of a chance to take a breather, gather their thoughts about where in the seed the logic might be, where they would need to go for progression, and what their next steps will be.
And without the fire rod now, you're seeing Khloe do this torch room in what I guess you would call the developer-intended method of moving all these blocks out of the way so you can walk through and light all those torches.
Honestly, the first time I played through this as a kid, I moved the blocks and then used the fire rod anyway.
Yeah, using that fire rod's just, you know, it's kind of cool. You just, you know, it's like, it's fun throwing fire. All right, JP took note that that is the ether requirement. Probably super happy to pick up that medallion and remembering it. So now JP's going to actually be able to full clear this as we see a little bit of convergence.
There's the hammer.
And the
There is the hammer.
So that's going to be, that's good progression. That opens up swamp entirely for our runners. And like I said, we found that before Vitreous, so that's going to push the Cane of Samaria even further back for Khloe.
Yeah, unfortunately, because they don't have the cane, they can't actually. They don't have the incentive to go up to Turtle Rock and check it because they don't have the hammer to get. Well, they have the hammer to get into Turtle Rock now, but they don't have the cane to get anywhere. And we know that the cane is right by Turtle Rock, so ooh. We also saw that on the hint tower that the pyramid fairly is utterly useless today. Just some cash and some bombs in there.
Yeah, that check is very time-consuming, so very useful information to know that we don't have to spend time checking it.
It's not so bad as it could be. They've got the mirror, and they've got the Agahnim portal set up already, so they could take a shortcut over there.
Yeah, but this is retro mode. We don't have time to be spending 100 rupees. We may need that for keys.
Oh, no big key, Khloe. You can't open that yet. So that actually means the big key is going to be in the chest pot there, or through the door here.
All right, now JP's making his way to the cutscene room chest. So now we're going to be having a hammer on both sides. So this is going to start. I don't want to say it's going to snowball, but who knows? It depends on when Khloe's going to go get that cane.
Well, they just picked up bombers and forced their displays just a bit slightly by grabbing the chest and pulling.
You know, Bombos is nice to have. It's one of my favorite medallions just because it's so useful going into that cold stare fight. That's going to put Ice Palace in logic for us.
Just to interrupt you there, Khloe is on 1 heart. They cannot get to that chest because they are going to kill themselves in the process.
Oh no.
Oh. That was interesting.
You hate to see that happen.
Yeah, they tried to use a bomb to give themselves some invincibility frames to check that chest, which has the big key. We know it's got the big key. And they're choosing to leave it behind.
All right, JP's got his hammer now. So that's going to put them on even footing as far as that progression goes. But now Khloe's probably going to be heading to Swamp. Yep, that looks to be the play. So we'll have to see if Swamp has anything for us today.
Yeah, both the fire rods and the ice rods and the bow are all proving elusive. So JP is on his way to the same chest. He's got a lot more health, so he's going to be able to loot the chests.
Yeah, I don't blame Khloe one bit for leaving after taking that death. Without the cane and not being able to clear it, no use really going back in. You know, they got some progression, so there's a lot of items opened up. Maybe BrewersFanJP will be checking that big chest for us, so we'll see if there's actually anything of note inside that.
Yeah, if you're going to double dip dungeons, it still feels pretty nasty to leave items behind. Especially given this is retro mode, those items could be pretty much anything.
All right, we do know the first 2 chests here in Swamp are nothing, as we see the map pop up for Khloe, but we haven't seen anything inside of further into Swamp yet due to not having that hammer, so this is some new checks for us finally.
Big chest is worthless today. We've had so many 20 rupee drops that a couple more aren't going to make or break anything with it now.
And that's actually really good news for Khloe that it's not, you know, something of great value as far as progression because of not being able to, you know, go ahead and get that.
But we are going to go check out Vitreous and see if Vitreous holds anything today. And if it doesn't, it's 1 more crystal out of the way at the very least.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure JP's feeling pretty good about this at the moment, being able to come into Mire, not have to double dip it for progression. And I know JP doesn't know exactly the situation Khloe's in, but anytime you don't have to double dip Mire, it's a good day.
Yeah, the runners are not allowed to check the progression of either of their race partners, so they have no idea whether they are ahead or behind. They may feel they're ahead or behind depending on what they've skipped or when they get an item. But they do not actually know for sure.
All right, just 3 bombs in that south room chest of Swamp Palace.
And we are going to ascend to Vitreous. We don't have the Cane of Burner or the Magic Cape today, so it's going to have to play it pretty carefully. We do have the Tempered Sword, so the eyeballs aren't going to take too much to defeat.
Yeah, and since I know, like you said, we don't have Cane of Burna, but since we are hard mode, that Cane of Burna provides no invincibility for the runners. So even having that here,
yes, true.
the thing's basically useless unless you're on Laser Bridge or Spike Cave.
Speaking of the cape, did we get a bumper cave check yet?
I don't believe we have. We'll have to maybe our tracker knows or maybe chat knows, but I don't believe we've seen that yet.
JP does get zapped by lightning though. He has to play carefully. I don't think he has any potions. Unlike Khloe, he doesn't actually know that the fairies give you a blue potion.
Yeah, the JP's in a situation where you usually see runners kind of do like charge up that spin slash and then they kind of tank damage, because if you walk into that goo up there, you do take damage from it. Oh, taking a hit there from that eyeball, down to 1 heart for this final phase of Vitreous. And sometimes Viti can get away on you, and you can take a hit unintentionally. So let's see. Let's hope he gets this.
He's in the second phase now, where it is quite a bit easier than the first phase. But 1 hit will finish him off, so he cannot afford to take any risks.
All right, and down goes Vidi. Very nice job from JP. While that was happening, Khloe did pick up those silver arrows over on the left side of Swamp Palace. So that's another useful item. It's going to make Ganon a little easier.
Unfortunately, if you are going to use those silvers on Ganon, you are going to need, I believe it's 80 rupees per silver arrow. So 320 rupees to finish Ganon off. It's a pretty heavy price. Not that they're using the rupees for much else at the moment. They have got so much money this seed. Nothing useful from Vitreous, so JP is going to once again follow Khloe and go into Swamp Palace. Chat correcting me, it's 50 rupees for per silver arrow. Still, expensive to kill Ganon.
Yeah, no doubt. It's it's definitely something you're going to have a lot of money for. But as we can see, both of our runners have well over 1,000 rupees. It can diminish rather quickly, but, it's very nice to have that. So I'm sure they can manage their money well.
So while Khloe is just about to finish Swamp Palace, JP is just about to enter Swamp Palace again. He is, however, 1 crystal up now because of that Cane of Samaya.
Yeah, and no joke, Mire takes a long time. Whether you take a death on Vitreous or have to double dip it like Khloe's going to have to do, it takes a long time to get back there. It's quite a time investment to make a trip just to go visit Vitreous again. And very nice Argus fight there from Khloe, taking him down rather quickly.
At the same time, JP already checked these first 2 chests in Swampfur, and that takes a pretty lengthy time to drain the dam again and get back inside.
Yeah, each runner's kind of made some interesting choices early on. JP did take that gamble, considering we knew that the first chest may or may not be a small key, since this is retro mode. So there's no harm in doing that. But except, it was a little bit of a time sink based on the fact that we didn't get our progression there.
So I'm interested in where Khloe is going now. They know that thanks to the hint tile in front of Swamp Palace, they know that the Pyramid Fairy is useless. Looks like we are going to be dipping Ice Palace. They do have that Bombers medallion, so Ice Palace is in logic now. They can clear it out.
Khloe opting to visit the shop here. Probably going to pick up a few keys, I would think, just to make this ice clear out, or potential ice clear out, much quicker. So right now, we're in a situation, if we go by JP's item, since he did get that cane from Spiral Cave, we're looking for that bow, we need that fire rod, we need that ice rod. That's pretty much all we need to be in go mode here. So I know I say that's all we need, but that's sometimes the one item can take the longest to find, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the ice rod is very notorious for that. More often than not, it's often found in the most inconvenient spot possible, which is the laser bridge in Turtle Rock. That said, the laser bridge isn't actually in logic right now. We cannot get the mirror shield because it's retro mode, well, hard mode. The mirror shield isn't available to us in hard mode. So we're going to need the cape for laser bridge to be in logic. Khloe's picked up a lot of keys from the shop. They are on 9 small keys now. And yes, they are going to go straight into Ice Palace.
Yeah, no harm in picking up all those keys. You know, Turtle Rock is going to be coming down the pipe here at some point. So that's a good key investment. And if you want to just be able to go ahead and blow through Ice Palace, as well as do it, you know, I guess you would call it maybe the vanilla way. If you don't set up the bomb jump here, you're going to have to use that key and open up that bottom room, as we see JP picking up his silver arrows.
I'm pretty sure either the bow or the fire rod has to be in there, but it has to be in Ice Palace. They cannot clear any other dungeons out without that bow and fire rod.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, you know, Ice Palace is fully in logic here because we do have that Bombos medallion that does take care, as we saw a second ago in the first room, it takes care of those ice enemies that are required, and also it will eliminate the nice icy shell that Cold Stare has in that first phase. And I'll tell you, when I was playing this game initially, as far as the randomizer, it took me a little bit to understand that you actually could use that Bombos medallion on him.
That was a trick I didn't work out until I was playing Link to the Past, probably for the 3rd time ever on the Game Boy Advance, actually. I had bought the Game Boy Advance remake. It's actually, coincidentally, also changes Ice Palace quite a bit. It's, I forget which puzzles change, but it makes in the vanilla game, you have to basically do a loop around the whole of Ice Palace to get to the bottom, because it assumes you don't have the Cane of Samaya. But the Game Boy Advance version of Link to the Past actually shortcuts that somehow, so you can get through Ice Palace much quicker and easier. But we are not playing vanilla Link to the Past today, be it SNES or Game Boy Advance. We are playing Link to the Past Randomizer. And the Randomizer can often put a small key on Cold Stare and assume you do need the Cane of Samaya to clear it. And as we're about to see, the Ice Palace bomb jump also makes Ice Palace routing much easier. Khloe gets it in one try.
Yeah, very nice job there by Khloe. Now, JP taking on Argus, also picking up that blue cane along the way. Doubt we see that used today by either runner. Like I said earlier, it does not provide invincibility in hard mode. It does still deal damage, so if they get in a pinch, they may use it, but probably unlikely.
Perhaps if they were... I've only ever really seen Cane of Burner used on blind. And that's usually a last resort when they are very low on health, or they're playing inverted and haven't had any other weapon drops.
Alright, very nice fight there from JP. Picking up that Swamp Palace Crystal, bringing his crystal count up to 3 with two pendants as well. All right, nothing of note yet from Ice. I know we haven't dug too deep into these item checks. Khloe still has not found anything super valuable yet, but I believe JP is going to be hot on their tail here coming into Ice Palace as well.
And they are going to stock up on small keys as well. So, oh yes, this shop was a small key shop too. So we're going to be checking out the big key chest shortly and the chest in here, and we still haven't found anything that will progress us in Ice Palace, so we are running out of places to check.
All right, there's the big key. So now we'll be able to... Now, Khloe's opting to take this bomb jump across here. Smart idea to be able to go through this key door at the bottom and go ahead and check the iced tea room a little quicker than having to drop down almost to Cold Stare and come all the way back up.
Just a single rupee in the iced tea room. So there's got to be something in the big key chest on Coldster.
Yeah, no doubt. So we'll have to see which one of those two it's going to be for our runners today.
I really don't think there's anywhere else to check. They are going to find either the bow or the fire rod here. Compass in the big chest, so Coldster has our last item. And again, we see JP just starting Ice Palace as Khloe Prower is finishing. But he does have that mire crystal though, so that really puts him ahead. Especially with that cane in hand.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, we're kind of in a situation where our runners are almost neck and neck. The big swing here is that Khloe does not have that Cane of Samaria, left that behind in the Spiral Cave up on Death Mountain. So that has been the big game changer right here. It was a really close race, and now it looks like right now, for the moment, it's favoring JP by a good bit.
Ooh, Khloe's getting a few hugs from those Coldster puffballs. Oh, one hit away from
down
death.
to 1 heart. This is, and there goes the last puff. So clutching that out, very nice job there by Khloe, and only getting 5 rupees for the troubles.
Okay, so we actually didn't find anything of progression in here. That's subverting my expectations. Huh.
Now it's more crucial for that cane, because there are a few chests that can be checked. Quite a few chests, actually, since this is retro and the keys are universal. But there's quite a few checks in Turtle Rock that are actually in play right now for progression.
Yes, we have got to go up to Turtle Rock and start clearing it out. It's probably going to be a forced double dip, because you just know both rods aren't going to be in there. It's only going to be one rod. Turtle Rock is mean like that.
Yeah, Turtle Rock is the appealing dungeon where it's so close to Ganon's tower, and it takes so long to climb up that mountain. It's such a time investment that you just don't want to have to do it multiple times and go through that dungeon if you absolutely don't have to. So obviously, I can respect the Ice Palace play. I honestly thought there was going to be progression there myself, but it looks like it's probably going to be in the TR area. Now, Khloe opting to check the Hammer Peg game. Now, this will be new information to us as well.
We can also check Magic Bat whilst we are here, because we do have the powder. And I have thought of one other check that can make, the big key chest in Thieves Town. Neither of our runners had the hammer when they went into Thieves Town.
Ooh, they're gonna... If we see either of them do that, it may be Khloe, just because of the whole cane. We know the cane is in Spiral Cave. I think we'll find something. That's my gut telling me that, but I think we'll find something before we get to that that point.
Just a big 20 in the hammer pegs. And we are going to see what Magic Bat is going to curse us today. Is it going to be the curse of fire, the curse of rupee spending with a bow, or is it just going to be the curse of absolutely nothing at all? Curse of cash.
If you have to be cursed with something, I guess cash is a nice thing to be cursed with, right?
Big 20s aren't worth that much in Hyrule. If I was going to be cursed tomorrow to receive £5, I'd better be... Yeah, what is the point of that?
Alright, now JP failed that bomb jump there. You hate to see that happen. We do know that it's only, I believe, 1 green rupee. I know it was nothing of value in the iced tea room. But looks like if he's going to check that, he's going to have to do it this long way of going down and then coming back up and around.
And Khloe's opting not to go back into Thieves Town to check that big key chest. They're going to be checking Graveyard Ledge, which I believe BrewersFanJP did earlier. And nothing of worth was in there. I believe just 5 rupees.
Yeah, it's 5 rupees, so unfortunately this is not going to be Khloe's progression as well. Really hoping for Khloe's sake they get back up and check Spiral Cave to get the Cane of Samaria.
Really, we're just going to all the isolated one-off locations that we've left behind and trying to find some means of progression.
All right, JP picking up that single green rupee. You know, this seed was pretty open to begin with. It's become quite the linear mess for the runners, you know, here in the last, 20 to 30 minutes.
Khloe has fluted to Death Mountain. They're probably going to check Spike Cave, and I hope they're going to check the Spiral Cave right after Spike Cave. Though I don't actually know if Spike Cave is in logic in hard mode. The Cane of Burner isn't going to save them from the spikes.
It actually will, so this is one of the 2 rooms that it will allow you, or I'd say take that back 3, because this would actually also work in that spike room in Mire.
Okay, I did not know that.
Ooh, and another fetch quest. We heard you like fetch quests. So here's a mushroom. Now, we got to save and quit. Let's see if Khloe looks like... Now, we did do Agahnim, so we're in Dark World. I really hope for Khloe's sake they go back to Death Mountain and go get that cane. But yeah, most likely we see here they're going to turn in this mushroom first. Now, JP's dropped in on Cold Stare, down to 3.5 hearts here with 2 puffs left. So, gonna have to play this a little safer. Second puff going down there. And there goes the 3rd puff, so...
Just a small key from the mushroom.
Yeah, still no progression there for Khloe, so... Hopefully, maybe they understand now, hey, I did leave an item up in Spiral Cave.
I imagine JP's probably going to go straight to Turtle Rock now. Whoops. Accidentally decides to use bombers outside the Ice Palace.
Now we're putting on a nice fireworks show here for us on JP's side.
Doesn't even set the picket on fire.
Might have been a little bit of a rage thing there, you know. Nothing of value in ice for either of the runners. So, complete waste of time to full clear that. They could have just go-moded that.
Khloe is ascending back up East Death Mountain again. They are going to go check the Spiral Cave and get that cane. Meanwhile, BrewersFan is stocking up on potions. They are going to be neck and neck again. Except for the Mizumaya Crystal.
Yeah, there was no progression on Vitreous or the big chest.
Oh, no! No! No. Khloe, don't flute away. Oh, no. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Don't mind me. I am being silly.
No worries there. But yeah, now Khloe is dropping in on Spiral Cave, finally getting that Cane of Samaria. No rage slashes for chat today, but probably thinking, man, I could have had this. We could have already cleared out Mire. Ugh. But yeah, a little bit of frustration pulls there, and looks like Khloe not opting to do TR, thinking that progression may be inside Mire.
Meanwhile, JP's going to go over a few of the checks that Khloe already did. He's going to let allow Khloe to catch up a bit. I'm not sure if he actually is going to go into Thieves Town and go get that isolated big key chest. It's in logic, we could have a bow or fire rod in there. Or ice rod for that matter.
All right, now Khloe, one thing to note here, Khloe did take a death right before getting that big key, so Khloe may be, you know, I doubt Khloe's just going to get the big key and go straight back to Vitreous. Probably going to dart back and check that big chest as well. All right, JP fluting away after just getting some cash from the bat, going up to Death Mountain, maybe making that Turtle Rock play now. Pretty much out of all other options, I would say.
I could go check Spike Cave too. But after Spike Cave, yeah, it's either going to be going into Thieves Town for that one chest or Turtle Rock for many, many more chests. Given that he's taken the west way up Death Mountain, he's going to be checking Spike Cave first.
All right, and I'm kind of curious to see if JP is going to commit to that Turtle Rock play after getting this mushroom, or if it's going to go and turn that in. We did find out from Khloe's side that that is just a small key.
Yeah, the longer JP does this and stays out of Turtle Rock or Thieves Town, it's going to give Khloe more time to catch up.
All right, JP took that save and quit. Now fluting over to 2, gonna get that small key. And if you're just joining us, we are in retro mode, so these small keys are universal throughout dungeons. There's a few shops in the world that are randomized, and they sell keys at 100 rupees a pop. Also, as far as retro goes, the bow, which we still have not found, requires rupees to fire instead of arrows. So wooden arrows cost 10 rupees per shot. Silvers are 50 per shot. So rupees are at a premium today. Usually you don't worry about it if you've got over 1,000 rupees. You're usually good at that point in most seeds.
JP is going to make the Turtle Rock play.
Yeah, usually you're in a situation where, as far as Turtle Rock goes, you need that fire rod, you would think, for that torch room. And you do for that room. But since we have so many small keys, this allows our runners to just continue going to pretty much all the way through Turtle Rock. They would just leave those 2 chests behind. They can pretty much clear everything else out, including Mimic Cave today, since we do have the hammer and the mirror.
But we found out from a hint already that Mimic Cave is useless.
And most times it is. I do not remember seeing that hint, so thank you for filling me in on that. That'll save them some time because they don't have to mirror and go to that point. So
I think
that's
hint.
always good information.
Yeah, I think it was the hint owl in the front of Swamp Palace, and in Mimic Cave it's only a bottle.
Yeah, and at 3 bottles right now, if it is a bottle, then you don't really need a 4th, I wouldn't think. These runners, I know, don't need that 4th.
Now, JP dipping this without the fire rod or the ice rod, he's going to feel like he's left something that he's behind, that he's forgotten about, and he's going to feel pretty far behind. And I imagine Khloe is feeling the same way, having left that cane behind in Spiral Cave. Khloe is getting out there. Flute, we see we're going to go next. It's either going to be 3 for Thieves Town, or it's going to be 1 for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting seed. We're sitting here at 1 hour, 43 minutes, and we only have 4 crystals. Now, we do have 2 of our 3 pendants, as this is all dungeons, and Aga 1 is completed. But this is, the progression has been trickling very, very slowly here for most of this seed. There's our bow in the first chest of Turtle Rock. It'd be really interesting to see if JP opts to go ahead and clear everything else out, considering we only have 1 check left inside of Eastern and Pod.
He thought about it. He got out of that mirror for 1 second and thought about mirroring and just going to go to Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace, but he is going to commit to the Turtle Rock clear. There's a lot more items to find down here. We could find both our rods down here. We could have the most loaded Turtle Rock we have seen in many, many races.
And JP taking a couple of hits there from those chain chomps. Definitely doesn't... Ooh, took another one down to half a heart. This is a little tense here trying to check this last chest. Just a compass for all that trouble. But luckily making it out of there alive and has a potion to use as well.
And we are in hard mode, so if he decides to go powder that anti-fairy just here, he's not going to get a fairy. He's just going to get a single heart.
Yeah, just getting a single heart is quite the nerf there in hard mode compared to the fairy. Can't even bottle, put that heart in a bottle for you with the bug net, so like you could with the fairies.
Khloe is making her way into Turtle Rock, and I must remind ourselves that these two runners are now very, very close to each other. We're going to see if Khloe decides to get this bow and then go out of Turtle Rock and clear the dungeons, or commit to the play, and they are leaving Turtle Rock. This could work out to be very bad for them, or very, very good for them.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the interesting turn of events here. You know, with the bow in hand, you know, chat, hold yourselves still for a moment, but Pedestal's in logic now, since we can clear Eastern to get that last pendant, and that's also going to put the item that Sahasrahla is holding for us in logic as well.
JP has looted the big key from the vanilla chest. He's going to loop around and check the big key chest and then descend into the bottom of Turtle Rock. And one thing I must say is that the laser bridge is not in logic. So if they find the fire rod and the ice rod there, it's not in logic. They don't have the cape.
Now, the one good thing for JP with dipping all this, including that having to go to the lava chest island, they got the big key there, so that means Khloe's gonna have to follow suit, spin that extra key to get to it. It's kind of a gamble in a way, since, you know, we can't get to that first those first two chests over in that the torch room area.
So there was only a big 20 in the big key chest, and I believe, apart from this one chest, everything else is going to be out of logic. So, just a piece of heart.
All right, now Khloe is heading to this area. They tried to get over here earlier with the bottle glitch and accidentally messed it up. Just 5 rupees in that first chest. And let's see what's in the second. Just some bombs, so nothing paying off just yet. So now we're going to be heading up to Helmasaur on Khloe's side.
Chat's having a bit of a debate about laser bridge, actually. I must confess, I'm not quite certain if the Caleb burner will work on the lasers in the laser bridge room.
That it does. So it does in hard mode, even though, you know, it's one of the few rooms that it does work in. So This is technically in logic, so we'll be able to get 4 more checks here.
5 rupees is not a good start.
And JP making use of a method of dashing to try to get past those. Just 2 5 rupees to begin with. Gonna opt to use that Cane of Burna now, looks like. And there's the fire
There's
rod.
a fire rod.
And that's gonna open up. Oh,
what?
Are you kidding me? That is insane. He can go ahead and clear this dungeon. That is amazing. And now we're actually in go mode as well. We can go ahead and clear this and be done. So this is insane. You know, I had the feeling that, you know, when they split routes, that it was going to make or break this seed for one or the other, obviously. But, you know, I expected to find the ice rod here. I'll be honest. It seems to always seem to pop up in Turtle Rock. But to find both of them on Laser Bridge in consecutive chests, absolutely amazing.
I am just flabbergasted here. What a turn of events. I think we've got to clip that, don't you? What an amazing fight.
Yeah, it's not something you see every day. And this is one of the beauties, I guess you could call it a beauty, of retro mode. Brewers fans actually not gonna do, and Khloe won't either when Khloe comes back up here, but they're not gonna do that room that you usually have to ride around on the platform and light the torches, because we got the big key and we got those items. So like I said, we're in go mode. We don't have to come back into Turtle Rock. It feels really great.
That is the absolute beauty of Randomizer. You never know when you'll find good luck on your side and find items in such a convenient location for you to go and make a beautiful, beautiful route out of it.
All right, and I believe JP does know that he is in go mode. This is really good for JP. You know, I hate to say it. I hate it for Khloe, because now Khloe could potentially, you know, we're going to clear out here Eastern Palace. Khloe's probably going to go turn in that green pendant. That's going to put Khloe further and further behind. Maybe routing in Ped as well. So we'll have to wait and see what Khloe decides to do.
So JP's just going to go straight to the back of Skullwoods here. He doesn't need to check anything else. He doesn't need to check the chest back there, even though he does have the mirror to make it more convenient. He's just going to go straight to Mopula and hopefully swat it with the greatest of ease.
Yeah, Maltula very vulnerable to that Tempered Sword. Just takes 4 hits as long as you don't knock him into a spike. So in the room he's in here, if he hits a spike, it actually just changes your damage to 0. So depending on the RNG of where the Moth will fly, we may see a very fast fight, or you may see a little bit of a troubling fight here from him. All right, Khloe missing that 1 cycle on the the red Igors there, but doing a pretty good job here of taking care of that one and heading into the Armos fight now. Pulling out that Cane of Burna, believe going to use that to try and do some damage here to these to try and potentially save some rupees.
Interesting strategy. And while Khloe does have the silvers, this is hard mode, so the silvers are not going to work anywhere outside of Ganon's room.
All right, and JP now taking on the Moth as well. So both of our runners here having boss fights. Now Khloe finishing off Armos, just rewarded with a piece of heart and that green pendant. Very nice fight there. And JP trying to finish off this Moth.
They brought out the bow in the end. I'd call that pay-to-win strats.
All right, down goes the Moth on JP's side. Very nice job there. That's going to bring that crystal count up to 6. And now it looks like on JP's side, we just need to flute on over to the eastern part of Light World, take out Palace of Darkness, mirror into Eastern, and then we get to do some fun things here.
Khloe is going to go check Sahasrahla, and they're not going to find anything of worth there, unfortunately, because we are in go mode. Well, there's our cape.
Oh, there's the cape. You know, like I said earlier, I don't know if we checked that the bumper cave ledge. I'm really hoping Khloe doesn't invest time going to... Oh, it looks like they may be doing that. I really hope they don't do this, because it's going to be such a time sink.
So JP is going to go into the back of Palace of Darkness first and get that out of the way with a bow. Then he's going to go to Eastern Palace, get that out of the way, and then he's going to be able to send up to Ganon's tower.
All right, guys, here we go. You're going to get your ped pull, but we know there's no progression here, so...
Oh, blind pull! Blind pull.
We'll have to see what we're getting today.
Couch cash. A key!
Hey, the key can be a little useful, you know? That saves 100 rupees.
A key could be insanely useful, actually, if we were in key sanity. So Khloe is going to go back into Turtle Rock. They are going to find what they need there and probably be very disappointed that they've had to double dip it.
Yeah, I'm assuming Khloe's probably thinking at this point, probably going to find a fire rod up here to progress the dungeons. But I don't think Khloe is thinking to find both of them up here like we did. That was absolutely incredible.
So whilst we see the runners clear the dungeons that the others have done, may I remind you that BrewersFanJP and Khloe have put up one hell of a race today. The leaders between them has changed several times. It's been neck and neck pretty much most of the way. Please do give them a follow on Twitch. They have given us a spectacular show, and it's well worth watching anything else they can put out. So JP is getting to Helmazor whilst Khloe is diving deeper into Turtle Rock. Oh, gets knocked back there by the Triforce and has to take the Samurai platform back to the platform.
All right, down goes Helmazor King on JP's side. Very nice fight there. All right, now that does bring us to 7 crystals, but I'm going to assume here that BrewersFanJP is going, and that he is going to mirror and go into Eastern. So we're going to hold off on our little game. Once we get that last pendant, we'll get that started.
He's cleared out most of Eastern already, so he just has to go in the back and finish off our boss. Meanwhile, Khloe is taking the long way around Turtle Rock, checks the Vanilla Big Key chest and gets Vanilla Big Key.
All right, both of our runners still have a very high amount of money here. I will be interested to see if JP does decide to make a trip to get a couple more keys before heading up to GT.
Maybe a couple of safeties too. Ganon's tower is tricky to get through without taking damage, and the runners are only on blue mail. They're not going to get any better than blue mail. They're probably not going to get any better than the amount of heart containers they have. There's really no need for them to check any more caves to try and find extra heart containers. So JP may decide to get a couple of safeties for Ganon's tower.
Khloe taking some damage there from that roller, down to just 3 hearts here. So we're going to have to be a little careful going through the dark maze down here with the platform and on Laser Bridge.
Now JP gets shoved around a bit by the red icon, significantly less deadly, but costs a little bit of time. And JP is at almost.
All right, JP opting to just use the regular bow and knock him out instead of using any other interesting strats like we saw from Khloe.
Pay to win, like I said.
All right, and down goes Armos Knight. Just a piece of heart there, and we're going to get our green pendant. So let's go ahead and get our famous GT game going. Ocelot, you want to explain it to the chat for us?
There are 22 chests in Ganon's tower. The big key is found in one of them, and we need that big key to get to the top. So if you are a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming channels, or you have donated 250 bits to any of the Speed Gaming channels, you can enter our big key guessing game and guess where our big key is for a chance at the leaderboard. You've got about a minute or two to get to your guesses in, because JP is going to spend a bit of time getting back up to the top of Death Mountain, and Khloe takes a death in the laser bridge room. They did take that safety door first, so they've got their ice rod, they've got their fire rod. They are probably kicking themselves right now. What a find.
Yeah, Khloe's probably hoping that BrewersFanJP did the exact same thing right now as far as leaving like they did. So Unfortunately for Khloe, we know that JP has, finished that dungeon and is on the way to GT now.
JP runs by the portal tower a couple times.
All right,
too fast for his own good.
Last chance to get your guesses in chat. We'll be stopping the guesses here as soon as we enter GT. And one thing to note here, JP's only got 2 small keys heading into GT, so this could get a little interesting. All right, JP not opting to spin that key to go right side. So now we got that mirror out. We're going left side. First 2 chests had nothing. Oh, and there's the big key. Number 3.
Not often do you see the big key on Bob's torch, so we're not even going to be paying a visit to Bob today. He's got the 2 small keys to ascend to the very top of the tower. He's got everything he needs.
And it looks like our first correct guess today, that was a speed gaming supporter, was from 06GTO. Congratulations, 06GTO. The way the progression's been for these guys, it's almost a little bit of a consolation of saying, you know what, we've put these items in some really wacky locations. Here's a here's a nice easy key.
JP taking a lot of damage from the Beamo statues there. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, going to have to play it safe through these next couple rooms. Has that cane of burnout. I hope he does remember that he cannot use that for invincibility. Oh, luckily dashing and missing all of those. But if he makes it through this next room, those 2 fairies are still available down there at the bottom side.
Ooh, he does manage to
so
dash through.
Close! Wow.
Yeah, I don't think that cane would have worked for him, but luckily his dodging skills were on point. Meanwhile, Khloe is proceeding through the back of Skullwoods. They're going to take on Mothler and be making their way up to Ganon's Tower. If JP takes a death here for whatever reason, that's going to put them much closer with that big key location. Anything that could set Khloe back a bit further behind would be if they decided to go check out the right side of Ganon's Tower. JP having a bit of a better time in these rooms in the gauntlets.
All right, Khloe now taking on the Moth to get their 7th crystal. All right, and down goes Mothula on Khloe's side. That brings Khloe up to 7 crystals as well, but JP seems to have a commanding lead right now, already at the Land Mode 2 fight in GT. So, we're going to have to wait and see how this pans out, but, it would take multiple, maybe a death or 2 here in GT and, maybe a fall or 2 to Ganon, but, we'll have to wait and see how this pans out.
He is running low on magic. He's going to use the mire strategy here still, but that's going to put him fairly low on magic for the torches later.
Yeah, luckily we do have that lamp. We didn't sequence break our way through everything else, so we can preserve some magic by using the lamp instead of using the fire rod for all the torches. But I do believe he's going to have just enough.
Yeah, he's opting to just use the lamp and preserve his magic. Takes a fall there to get back to his beginning quicker.
And with this always being a magic drop there, and the right skull pot here has a full magic refill, makes these rooms very easy and convenient to have a lot of magic.
Takes the extra time too to avoid getting a despawn in Ganon's Tower. If you despawn the tower by going up the stairs at the wrong time when the door is opening or closing, you despawn all the enemies in the tower. This unfortunately includes Aga too, so if that happened, you actually cannot finish the tower, and you have to reset your game and go back in again.
Getting a couple of hearts there and getting that full magic refill to be fully kitted out for the Aga 2 fight and the Ganon fight. Meanwhile, on Khloe's side, Khloe's making their way up the GT, so, you know, it doesn't look like it would happen, but if something were to happen and BrewersFan took a death here on Aga 2, this race could be swung the other way.
Khloe is not far behind at all, but we'll see where their Ganon's Tower routing takes them. They may go full right, or they may just go straight left and get that big key immediately.
All right,
Okay,
double
that's
hit.
a double. Just a single. Khloe is actually going to take the right route through the Ganon's Tower basement, so that's going to cost them a bit more time.
Another double there. Just need one more.
And down goes Aga 2.
So now, with Aga 1 done and all dungeons done, we finally get to take on Ganon, the big pig.
What choice facts is he going to have us today? Something about cheese? Maybe some song lyrics?
All right, Khloe showing us this room over here with big 20, heart piece, some bombs, and 5 rupees. So we knew the big key wasn't there, but that bloomerang's still out in the wild somewhere.
Today we get song lyrics. How do you like me now, says Ganon.
All right, now Khloe's picking up the big key to GT and going to make their way up as JP is in phase 2 and getting ready to be in phase 3 of the Ganon fight.
I don't know if there was enough hits to get in. Yeah, it was just enough hits to get into phase 3. He's got enough cash to use the silver arrows as well. You need 50 rupees per silver arrow, so this should be a not too difficult to kill for him. Meanwhile, Khloe is making their way up the Ganon's Tower gauntlet. Ganon tells us about the silver arrows in Swamp Palace, and they were on the left side of Swamp.
All right, this is the ultimate pay-to-win thing here, so just 190 rupees left. Ooh, took a hit there. Don't want to miss too many more of these, and definitely don't want to take a death as we don't have enough rupees now to do four arrow shots. All right, there's that final hit. And BrewersFan takes down the big pig. All right, get your GGs in chat for BrewersFan. We're going to get you an official SRL time as long as he makes it across this bridge. And he does without any problem. BrewersFan is going to finish in first, winning the race with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 52 seconds. Get your GGs in chat for BrewersFan.
GG, what a spectacular race.
Now, Khloe still making their way up the gauntlet, just entering that now.
So let's see if JP wants to come in for an interview. I imagine he's got quite a lot of things to say about this seed. Super interesting.
All right, it looks like JP is in the waiting room. Let's go ahead and bring him in. All right, so we have BrewersFanJP with us. JP, GG.
Thank you.
This was a quite an interesting seed for you guys. You know, the progression was nice and open to begin with. Started to trickle down. You know, I got to ask this question because it's been on my mind since. How did you feel finding both rods on the laser bridge in Turtle Rock?
Well, when I was going down Laser Bridge, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna probably find. I knew I was gonna find something there because at that point, I didn't know because I had bow. So I was just thinking when I found the bow, I was tempted to leave, but I'm like, potentially just get Fire Rod in here so I can go kill Mothula and make my next trip up here in my last. That'd be great. And so I got Fire Rod. I'm like, okay, that's probably good. And then I got Ice Rod, and I just laughed. I just laughed.
Yeah, we were kind of beside ourselves for a moment. You know, usually you find that ice rod. That pesky ice rod always seems to turn up in Turtle Rock. But seeing both of them there in consecutive chests as well just was absolutely unreal to us. It was absolutely insane.
It was the absolute gamble of the match. And Khloe, when they initially went into Turtle Rock, they got that bow in the first chest and then ducked out because they reckoned they would find the rods in elsewhere outside of Turtle Rock. But they didn't find them, and they had to go back and full clear it again and find those rods on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, I think that Khloe mentioned that in the chat. That was the move that kind of hurt them, just leaving Turtle Rock right away. I mean, I knew
you were neck and neck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I knew it was possible for Fire Rod to be in Turtle Rock in Retro because you can get so many keys outside. Don't need to have a key layout there. I just wasn't expecting it. I mean, it could have easily just also been Fire Rod locked big key too. So that was actually a very nice placement when all was said and done.
You two were pretty much neck and neck for the whole of this race. Khloe checked the front of escape earlier and got that Moon Pearl much sooner than he did, so they got into the Dark World much quicker. But they left that Cane of Samaya behind in Spiral Cave. They didn't check Spiral Cave, so that then put you back in the advantage. You both entered Turtle Rock at the same time, and it's just that basically came down to that one gamble.
Yeah, I feel like beyond a few things off the back in Pod and then the green pendant and the pedestal, I think I felt like I've checked about everything. I guess you also not everything in GT, but yeah.
Yeah, you weren't in a position where you could actually, you know, do the whole jump into GT to look for progression. You know, sometimes that happens in these style of all dungeon runs for pendant progression, but you guys pretty much had a full loadout. You know, like Ocelot was saying, the biggest turning point, you guys were back and forth constantly. Khloe for the longest time left Kane in Spiral Cave, and you had that, so you were able to do Mire in one go. That kind of swung things in your favor, and then as it kind of got really close again in TR, that like Ocelot was mentioning, the play to stay there was, I think, the deciding factor in this, because you know, you had the pedestal in play, so Khloe hadn't checked that, and once Khloe did Pod and Eastern, Khloe went and checked the ped as well, so it was a lot of time sinks there for Khloe.
Yeah, I saw some of the end of it. I think I got to turn it on right after I hit go mode, essentially, because that was right around where I finished. So I was watching some of it and heard some of the talk, and I think that was I don't know if I've ever seen a crazy rod placement like that. I think once I saw a Commodore race where Fire Rod and Ice Rod were both a Pyramid Fairy, but that's the closest before that.
Yeah, that if they were there, that would be quite the interesting thing too. Let's turn our attention really quick over to the stream here for a moment. Khloe is falling in to the Ganon fight now, so let's cheer Khloe on to go ahead and finish this seed off.
Pretty low on health. I don't know if they've got any blue potions left to keep themselves alive, just in case they take a hit. In fact, I'm not sure they could survive a single hit in just blue mail. So gonna have to play this map.
Gonna need a pretty much perfect fight here, as Khloe is heading into phase 2 now. And we're using that cape. It does still let you become invisible, and oh, Khloe taking a death there. You hate to see that happen. Khloe may have to leave and get a potion if Khloe doesn't have one in their inventory.
Straight back in. Once more onto the breach.
This is one of those moments of you fall off the horse, you get right back on it, and you conquer this thing. So we're going to hopefully have Khloe take Ganon out this time.
They do have a green potion. Yep, they're going to use that. Just bees left in the bottles now. One thing that Khloe found out that you never checked, if you were to throw a bottle into the fairy fountain, say like in the waterfall cabin, you would actually get a free blue potion refill.
Oh yeah, I didn't think to throw my. I think when I was in the waterfall, I might have had one potion that was filled. I didn't have any other bottles at that point.
Really close here. Nice use of the hook shot to use those iframes to time the fire bats expanding and contracting. And Khloe taking another hit here, down to 1 heart, but we are in phase 3 here, heading into the final phase of Ganon here in just a moment.
Gets through phase 3 without a problem.
Yes, we did find those silver arrows in Swamp Palace. So, with Khloe having 394 rupees, we've got plenty of cash here. Just make sure we don't miss a couple of shots, and we should be good to go.
Gets 2 hits in, 1 more will finish off Ganon, and we've got 3 shots remaining, and down goes Ganon. Get your GGs in chat for Khloe Prower. I believe that's an official SOL time of 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 1 second. What an excellent race by Khloe and BrewersFanJP.
And GG's to both of our runners here. So, Brewers fan, let me bring this up. I don't know if Khloe's going to be joining us or not yet. Well, I take that back. I believe so. But let me ask you this really quick. So, how do you feel now? You've got a tie for second place with 1 race remaining. You're tied for second, so you're in the guaranteed to be in a race off at this point. But you could outright clinch it. Do you want to tell us who's your last match against?
My last match will be against Sabatender. That's scheduled for Tuesday nights. I think it's a defeat Ganon, open, randomized swords, hard key sanity. So that will be very interesting. And yeah, like I said, if I win, I advance outright. If Sabatender wins, it's a 3-way tie.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of implications going into brackets with that race. This one was as well. Now, we're also joined now by Khloe Prower. GG's, Khloe.
Hi, yo, GG's. Oh, that was great for the last race of groups for our group, I think. Well, at least for me, anyway.
That seed, we were talking about it with Brewers fan here earlier. It was absolutely insane. You guys were back and forth for the longest time, and then the progression started to kind of dissipate. There was nothing there, and you guys almost synced up perfectly going into Turtle Rock. And then the biggest, I know you guys were chatting in SRL about it, but the biggest thing was mirroring out after getting that bow. And I know both of you wanted to do it, but obviously there's regrets, but did you think you were going to find the ice rod or the fire rod? I'm assuming, on the way.
Well, I mean, at the point I was, my stomach dropped when I found Samaria because I knew I didn't need to double dip mire. And I knew that was immediately, because I took a death halfway through it, that was immediately going to be 2-3 minutes there, at least, plus the extra climb up. And then I'm like, I'm behind at this point, and I left after a bow. Which, I mean, if the big key wasn't in the front, it was fire locked in Turtle Rock, that was the correct play. But if like anything was in Turtle Rock, because at that point I had already found Mushroom, I had already found every fetch quest item, and I was down to literally 5 locations left that were in Turtle Rock.
I mean, in all honesty, we all flipped out here when we first saw the Fire Rod and the Ice Rod right back to back. We expected maybe to find one of them. Maybe, you know, the Ice Rod. It always has the tendency to show up in Turtle Rock. But, you know, I can't fault you at all for mirroring out of there. Personally, I'd probably wanted to do the same thing. You know, like I probably would have done that too, thinking, all right, I've got a few more checks. That puts Pedestal in logic. So until we saw that, I was thinking this, you know, obviously that is going to be the play because they took 2 different routes. So whichever one is the, you know, whichever one finds the Fire Rod first is probably going to be the one that wins this. And unfortunately for you, you know, it was just all, it was all right there together.
I mean, the moment I pulled Pedestal and it wasn't the Fire Rod, I'm like, it's in Turtle Rock. There's nowhere else it could be. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, that's the thing about Randomizer. You know, it's just sometimes the item placements are ridiculous and you just can't predict it.
But I mean, I also, like, what I should have, I mean, I can think of a million things I should have done if I didn't mess up the potion glitch. I would have probably not gone there. I would have finished Turtle Rock first. If as soon as I got Samaria, I went back up to Turtle Rock because I broke my rule that you should be in Turtle Rock by an hour 20, or otherwise you're messing something up. Oh, but sorry, I'm still coming down from the adrenaline. It's been a rush this entire last like couple weeks where everyone's been floating around though.
Oh, believe me, we have been losing our collective minds over all of this seed.
Oh, and I mean, like even the last like week where our entire group F has been 4 people within 1 win of each other, and now JP is in the best spot to be in brackets, which is really cool. So.
Yeah, this is, you know, I was thinking of, you know, how it would be for me if I was in you guys' situation here. There was so much riding on this race for both of you, and the way you guys still executed so well is a testament to how great you guys are at playing this game. So chat, we've mentioned it multiple times here. Be sure to give both of these guys a follow. 2 top-tier runners here, putting on an excellent show for you under pressure for their tournament lives. Very nice job here by both of them.
I want to just address something the chat mentioned. I even saw this on the broadcast. I completely forgot you can't use burn up for invulnerability.
I meant to ask you about that because
I watched that part back. I was just like, wow, how lucky did I get?
Yeah, you got 2 perfect dashes there. It absolutely blew my mind. I was like, does he not remember you can't use it? And then I was like, luckily he got the dash, you know, through the spikes, and then you got the even more impressive dash through the cannonball bridge. That was absolutely insane.
Yeah,
It was a bluff. It was a bluff strat. The enemies thought that he was immune, so they didn't bother attacking him.
Yeah, that was completely lucky. That was funny to watch when I saw, like, wow, I actually dashed so perfectly. I didn't hit anything.
Yeah, absolutely incredible job by both of you tonight. Any final thoughts from the 2 runners? Khloe, I'll let you go first if you have anything you'd like to say about the seed.
Oh, I mean, the seed was nuts. It didn't hit everything. Hammer fire locked with Mire. That you had to go up to Death Mountain to get the full lamp in order to get, which you had to get the loot logically to get up there, but the mirror was in Dark World. Oh, it was just a mess. Logically, it was a mess. When I got Hammer, I knew, like, JP can't possibly have this because the string of events that you need to get this is, like, so ridiculous. But, I mean, the seed was kind of fun, actually. It was a mess, but it was fun. And
it definitely was a lot of fun to watch.
And, I mean, like, I'm out of this tournament now, so I get the catharsis of watching for the rest of the tournament, see how everyone else does. But I mean, thanks to like my entire group and all the re-streamers for making this amazing experience. I love it. I've had so much fun these past couple weeks. It's been great. Anyway, and I'll see you guys in the next tournament, I suppose.
Awesome. We'll have to hold you to it. You know, being in a tournament's always super fun, super stressful. You always want to beat your opponent. You want to win out. But at the end of the day, we're all still friends in this community, and that's what's great about this community, and I love it. But yeah, I hate to see Khloe's tournament life end here, but there will be more tournaments to enter. And JP lives to fight another day. JP, you have any thoughts about the seed to close it out?
Well, I mean, it feels good to still be in control of my own fate. I get one more race to do. I do feel bad for knocking Khloe out, but it's just a game, just for fun. So, Khloe gave me some good races. Like I was only able to take one off of Khloe, so it feels good to do that. And I'm just gonna get ready for Tuesday night, face Sabatender, and we're gonna figure out where this group's going, whether I'm going right in or we're gonna have a three-way tiebreaker.
Yeah, and to kind of plug that match there, that I'm not sure if that has a restream yet. That is going to be on Tuesday, December 4th at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're available for that, make sure do not miss that match. That is going to be an interesting one.
And even if it isn't restreamed, it is going to be on BrewersFanJP's channel. I recommend you give him a follow. I also recommend you give Prower a follow on Twitch. They have given us a spectacular race today. Fully worthy of our attention and our applause.
Yeah, GG again, Khloe.
All right, let me throw this information out there and we'll wrap things up here. Currently, we have Aaron Dobby versus Vivi over on Speed Gaming 5. That match just got underway. It is an all dungeons open, Uncle Assured hard key sanity. So if you really like key sanity, that is a match you definitely don't want to miss. And tonight at 10, on the ALTTP Randomizer channel, we have a Ganon Standard Swordless Hard Retro match versus, or Big Dunka versus ARGELXD. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I will absolutely butcher that name. But other than that, we're going to wrap things up here. I've been Dante. I've had a great time co-comming here with Revolving Ocelot. One more big thank you to our tracker, Itsu Demo, for doing a fantastic job tracking this match. And I'm going to throw it over to Revolving Ocelot to close us out with the last word.
Honestly, it was an absolute pleasure to be here with you on this commentating this race. It's actually the first race I've commentated for the Link to the Past tournament, although I have got a little bit of experience in commentating for the Super Metroid and Link to the Past Combo Randomizer tournament that's also going on other Speed Gaming channels. I believe there's a match between Elminster RTA and Metroid Mist coming up later tonight. So if you're interested in Super Metroid and Link to the Past Combo Randomizer, and it is honestly really interesting and fun to watch, give that a watch too. Otherwise, thank you for joining us tonight for this excellent race. I am Revolving Ocelot. I've been here with Dante. I wish you all a good night.